Welcome to the C.S. Joseph Podcast. I'm your host, C.S. Joseph, and definitely doing Acolyte questions because we have, a lot of them. So, got to get through them, and, why not shotgun film them all in one day? Because, it's like a thing. But hey, what this means is that if you're an Acolyte, Acolyte member, you get to ask a question, and you get a video response to your question, which is posted on YouTube and our podcast for everybody to enjoy. Also our website, which was a thing that I learned recently, and for some reason I forgot about that. But who knows why I did. That's just a thing. So yeah, to become an Acolyte, go to csjoseph.life/members, and then become a Journeyman member, and then upgrade your account to Acolyte. Journeyman's awesome. We have tons of seasons of hidden lectures behind our paywall, and also the Cutting Edge podcast. And let me tell you something, folks. Last night's episode of the Cutting Edge podcast was mega cutting edge. Like, seriously, it was, because we were talking about which of the 16 types you should be initiating with if you're going to be asking them out for a relationship, which ones you should be letting them initiate with you, and going in mega deep on cognitive functions. So if you want to learn about how awesome all of that is, you might want to go check out the Cutting Edge podcast. We have over 2 years of content just for the Cutting Edge podcast, and a lot of people don't even realize how amazing that is by itself. So go check that out. It's exquisite. And also, if you're already a Journeyman member, csjoseph.life/portal, go to the Acolyte section there and upgrade your account from there. And now on to today's question, which is, how can an INTP avoid acting on their SE Trickster? And the answer is, they can't. Okay, end of video, end of episode, right? We're done. Oh, no. So why? Why is that the case? Well, it really comes down to, is your parent function actually developed? It really comes down to that, because, you're going to be bumbling about in your life with SE Trickster, being completely unaware of how you're coming off to other people. It's one of the reasons why you dress for comfort only, and the thing is that while you're walking around looking mega ugly, typically, especially in your youth, and you're not even aware of it, you kind of end up realizing that that is not exactly the desirable thing for you to do. It's not the desirable way for you to dress. So as your parent function becomes more developed over time, you end up realizing what is actually desirable. So instead, you stop relying on your extroverted sensing Trickster and start using your parent function more often. And this is basically as a result of cognitive reflection, something that we've talked about in Season 18. If you haven't gotten any Season 18 episodes in your email recently and are missing some of the links to those hidden lectures here on the YouTube or the podcast, if you become a Journeyman member, you can actually get access to all of Season 18. And the next couple episodes, we have 5 episodes planned for Season 18. They're going to be awesome. Amazing, quite frankly, amazing. Based on that, I highly recommend becoming a Journeyman member so you can also catch up on Season 18 as well, which is cognitive mechanics. But yeah, within Season 18, Chris Taylor, also known as Christ Taylor, just kidding, has basically, when talking about the cognitive reflections, he maintains that the Trickster function, until a person's parent function is actually developed, the Trickster function kind of takes over for the parent function. This is what actually facilitates what Dave Powers calls cognitive looping, okay? And cognitive looping is basically when you have your hero function and your child function working together without a parent function to interfere or get in the way of the two. So for me, it would be about doing everything that I would do things based on what people want me to do and based on what people like or what makes them feel good, which would make me the ultimate people pleaser and doormat ever. I guess that would make a lot of sense based on the people who have molested me as a child. But with that being said, and if you want to learn more about that story, then you might want to actually head over to Season 21 playlist on this channel and watch How to Social Engineer ENTPs if you want to learn more about that story from my past. That being said, basically, nobody can avoid acting on their Trickster function. The only way to actually get to any semblance of avoidance is that you really have to go out of your way to develop your parent function. And developing your parent function is extremely difficult, because while you are a teenager, when your parent function basically pseudo shows up and it's actually ready for development, your ego is already protecting itself. And because it's protecting itself, your parents are noting that you are being irresponsible because of your underdeveloped parent function, but they can't really develop it or help you develop it because your ego is going to fight back. And that's what being an adolescent is all about. That's why teenagers are typically a problem for parents, is because your ego is defending itself all of a sudden, whereas it wasn't previously, right? So based on that, the only thing that can be done is through cognitive orbit, where in order to develop your parent function, they have to basically hit your critic function, and then your parent will start developing that way over time. However, that's for external sources of development or external pressure for development. For you personally, you can kind of be aware of it, and instead, as an INTP, go out of your way to have new experiences that you've never had before, challenging experiences. Literally, if the INTP can get to a point where they are constantly, on a daily basis, challenging themselves, really, truly challenging themselves, and having the self-discipline to keep challenging themselves. This could be with physical things, like imagine if an obese INTP all of a sudden deciding to count their calories and their macronutrients every single day while doing 5 miles of walking every single day in order to lose body fat, for example. That's a huge challenge. That's a great example. Or moving to another country for 6 months without even knowing how to speak the language and surviving. That is an awesome challenge. Basically, the INTP needs to get out of their comfort zone and force challenges. So instead of comfort, focus on challenge. That is how introverted sensing has grown. So focus on growing your introverted sensing child. And by doing that, it forces via cognitive axis, because extrovert intuition parent is on cognitive axis with SI child. As a result of that axis, extrovert intuition parent will actually start rapidly growing itself, and that is how you personally can develop your parent function without relying on external sources hitting your NI critic, which would cause very slow development of your parent function, which is basically how everybody in Western society actually does it anyway. And that's why the parent function is the last function to develop, because everyone is so enabled in Western society to the point that it's insanely annoying, right? So yeah, that can be a serious problem. But yeah, really, the answer is, how can an INTP avoid acting on their SE Trickster? They can't. So really, if you want to get any control over your Trickster whatsoever, you have to get the parent function developed so that you're no longer leading with your Trickster mentally. You're actually going to be leading with your parent function instead. You're going to be doing what is desirable instead of what you think looks good, which it doesn't. So yeah, you might want to pay attention to that. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching and listening. That's it for today's episode, and I will see you guys tonight.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but